trains, salt, and a really scary trip. Welcome to Salt Lake City, Utah. Salt Lake City was founded in 1847 by Mormon pioneers, and what began as a rugged desert settlement has grown into Utah's vibrant capital. Today, it's a modern city with historic landmarks, mountain views, and a lively downtown. Hi, it's Mark and Pam with Any Way You Travel. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, we're glad to have you back. Now, let's explore beautiful Salt Lake City. Temple Square is the heart of Salt Lake City, with its stunning Salt Lake Temple, historic tabernacle, and beautiful gardens. It remains a Mormon spiritual and cultural landmark that draws millions of curious visitors every year. The domed building is called the Mormon Tabernacle, and it's based on the Old Testament concept of a place where God meets with his people. Completed in 1867, the Mormon Tabernacle is one of the most remarkable buildings of its time. Designed with a unique domed roof, the structure was engineered to carry sound so perfectly that even a pin drop could be heard across the hall. It became the gathering place for worship, conferences, and music. The Mormon Tabernacle Choir traces its roots back to 1847, when early pioneers first sang together just days after arriving in the valley. They now perform for U.S. presidents, world leaders, and millions around the world.
Behind me is the statue of the angel Moroni and Joseph Smith, who was the founder of the Mormon Church. In 1823, Moroni appeared to Joseph Smith and said, "Look, there are some tablets that are buried here in the Americas that are from prophets that prophesied here in America, and they reveal the fullness of the gospel."
Construction of the Salt Lake Temple began in 1853 under Brigham Young and took 40 years to complete. Finally dedicated in 1893, with its striking granite spires, it remains the centerpiece of Temple Square. The Great Salt Lake, the largest saltwater lake in the Western Hemisphere, is a remnant of ancient Lake Bonneville that once covered much of the state of Utah. Its unique mineral-rich waters support diverse bird life and create surreal landscapes, making it one of Salt Lake City's most iconic natural wonders. This is the Spiral Jetty, built in 1970 by Robert Smithson. The jetty's a 1,500-foot rock sculpture that winds its way into the Great Salt Lake. As I mentioned, the Great Salt Lake is the remains of ancient Lake Bonneville, a massive prehistoric body of water that once covered much of northwest Utah. As the waters receded, the Great Salt Lake and the Great Salt Lake Basin were left behind. Today it supports industries like salt and mineral extractions and draws visitors with its unique landscapes and recreational opportunities.
Now, the lake has kind of a smell to it. That is due to the bacteria in the water and the decaying biomass on the beach, because a lot of the brine shrimp and birds and things like that die and then they decay on the beach, and that adds kind of to that pungent type smell. The Great Salt Lake may not be the saltiest lake in the world, but if you were to go swimming in it and lay back, you would float with ease.
That's right, the salt content of the lake is so dense, it literally helps you float on its surface. The Great Salt Lake is a playground for adventure where sailing and boating are favorites, but you'll also find kayaking, bird watching, and peaceful walks along its beautiful scenic shores. Bridal Veil Falls, just outside Salt Lake City in scenic Provo Canyon, is one of Utah's most breathtaking natural landmarks. Once home to a historic tramway, this double cascade waterfall plunges over 600 feet down a rugged cliff, creating a misty veil that gave it its name. Today, the area is a favorite spot for hiking, picnicking, and photography. The Natural History Museum of Utah, perched above Salt Lake City, is one of the state's premier cultural landmarks. Opened in 2011, the copper-clad building offers stunning views of the valley. Inside, the visitors can explore 10 permanent galleries that showcase Utah's incredible natural story, from ancient fossils of dinosaurs that once roamed the region, to gems, minerals, and the forces that shaped the land. The museum also highlights the culture and traditions of Utah's native peoples, connecting human history to the natural world. With hands-on exhibits, rotating special displays, and interactive learning spaces, it's a favorite destination for families, students, and curious travelers alike. The Natural History Museum of Utah doesn't just preserve the past, it brings it alive for visitors to enjoy. The Clark Planetarium in downtown Salt Lake City brings the wonders of space and science to life with engaging hands-on displays. Visitors can explore exhibits on the solar system, black holes, and forces that shape our universe, all designed to spark curiosity for every age. Popular attractions include an enormous Foucault pendulum that demonstrates the Earth's rotation, and interactive stations where you can launch rockets or simulate planetary motion. This is part of a meteorite that fell in China in the year 1516. How cool is that? When was the last time you enjoyed a beautiful full moon? Well, here you can actually touch a piece of the moon.
I'm telling you, this place is absolutely amazing. Look at me.
I'm on another planet.
Whether it's learning how tornadoes form or enjoying the magic of static electricity, the Clark Planetarium has a full afternoon of fun for the entire family. Discovery Gateway Children's Museum, located in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City, is a hands-on museum designed to inspire imagination, learning, and play. Covering more than 60,000 square feet, the museum is packed with interactive exhibits where kids can experiment, explore, and create. Favorites include the Kids' Eye View Miniature Town, where children can role-play as doctors, shopkeepers, or mechanics, and the Stream Lab, which encourages curiosity in science, technology, engineering, art, and math. The museum's rooftop terrace features an outdoor play area with climbing structures and creative spaces for active learning. Discover Gateway also hosts rotating exhibits, workshops, and family events, making each visit unique. It's not just a place for kids. Parents and grandparents can enjoy watching their little ones discover the world in a safe, engaging environment. Whether you're a local family or a visitor exploring Salt Lake City, Discovery Gateway offers a memorable experience that blends with education. Next, let's head to the Golden Spike National Historical Park. Located north of Salt Lake City at Promontory Summit, it marks the spot where the first transcontinental railroad was completed in 1869. Here, the Central Pacific and the Union Pacific Railroads met, uniting the nation with a single rail line for the first time in history. Visitors can see beautiful replicas of the historic Juniper and number 119 locomotives standing where the famous Golden Spike was driven. The park also features exhibits, demonstrations, and walking trails that bring the story of innovation, perseverance, and America's westward expansion to life.
Prior to May 10, 1869, the community of Promontory, if you want to call it a community, was really nothing more than a dusty place with a couple buildings.
Before the Transcontinental Railroad, crossing America by covered wagon could take 6 months of grueling travel. With the railroad's completion in 1869, that same journey could be made in just about a week, forever changing the speed, safety, and possibility of travel across the continent.
Now, the trains and the railroad tracks and the railroad ties are all replicas. But you know what? This is an amazing place to come and experience a little piece of major history.
While this may not be everybody's cup of tea, for a history buff, it's amazing. This is called Immigrants Pass, just outside Salt Lake City. In the early 1800s, a man by the name of Lansford Hastings assured travelers this was a shortcut that would save 250 miles and weeks of travel as they headed west. On August 26, 1846, after cutting through thick brush for 16 days, a group known as the Donner Party stopped at this spot to set up camp and reevaluate their path. Instead of going forward, they had their oxen pull the wagons up this steep hill, thinking the way would be easier. Somehow, the oxen managed to get the wagons up the hill into the Great Salt Lake Flats, but then they gave out exhausted, and the party stayed for about a month so the oxen could recover. This was a fatal mistake, because then they headed into the Sierra Nevada mountains in the middle of winter.
As the harsh winter wore on, the Donner Party consumed all the animals they had brought with them, including their pet dogs. Some in the Donner Party wrote in their journals that starvation became so intense that some actually resorted to cannibalism, eating the bodies of those who had died of hypothermia.
In a cruel twist of fate, about a year later, Brigham Young's Pioneer Party took the same path and found that once they arrived at the Donner Party's former campsite, it only took about 4 hours to cut a path through to what would become Salt Lake City. The Pioneer Lime Kiln is truly a hidden gem in Salt Lake City. You'll see it on Google Maps, and as you drive into the neighborhood, don't turn onto that driveway, but park on the street and walk down this trail and follow it to the kiln.
When you're hiking in Utah, you want to make sure you stay on the beaten path. There are a lot of rattlesnakes. This will bring you down behind the steel gate, which is closed.
Now, the short hike out there isn't bad, but once you get to where you head to the kiln, there's a pretty steep path up to the kiln.
Now, if you're younger, this 2 or 3 minute hike probably isn't going to be too bad, but considering I'm a little older, I'm going to stop and take a break before I head on up there. As you're coming up this path, you've got to be careful. It's slippery, even when it's dry, and the rocks give way.
The kiln is tucked away in a place called Lime Kill Gulch.
The mountains around this area had lots of limestone in them, so they would mine the limestone, break it into like grapefruit-sized chunks, and then layer it inside these kilns. And they would put wood in there, and they would burn it, and it would dry it into a fine powder. And then they would use that powder, put water in it, and create mortar to build a lot of the buildings. They would also use it for plaster on walls and other various uses.
Built in the 1850s, it was one of many kilns built after Mormon pioneers settled in the valley.
You know, it's really amazing. When we want to build something or put some cement down to put our mailbox in, we just run down to Home Depot. But back in the 1800s, they didn't have Home Depots. If they wanted to make cement, they had to make it themselves at places like the kiln.
Standing proudly on Capitol Hill, the Utah State Capitol has been the seat of state government since it first opened in 1916. The neoclassical structure is crowned by a massive dome inspired by the U.S. Capitol. It offers sweeping views over Salt Lake City and the Wasatch Mountains. After achieving statehood in 1896, the residents wanted a state capitol building that would symbolize their strength and independence. Inside, visitors can admire elegant murals and historic chambers where lawmakers still meet today. Over the years, the Capitol has undergone careful renovations to preserve its beauty and strengthen it against earthquakes, ensuring it remains both a working government center and a treasured landmark. Today, it's not only a place of politics, but also a gathering spot for tours, community events, and a living reminder of Utah's history.
Construction of the Utah Capitol building began in 1912 and was completed by 1916. It was built completely of Utah granite quarried from the Little Cottonwood Canyon.
The Capitol Dome rises 285 feet above the city and was built with 4,000 tons of granite.
All over Utah, you're going to see a picture of a beehive, whether it be on highway signs or stores or whatever, or here at the Capitol. It's called industry, and it's the motto of the people of Utah that they are an industrious, busy, hard-working state.
The Pioneer Memorial Museum, located next to the state capitol, houses one of the world's largest collection of artifacts from Utah's early settlers.
Unfortunately, the Pioneer Memorial Museum was closed when we got here, but one of the major artifacts inside is Brigham Young's actual wagon that he used to travel to the Salt Lake Valley in 1847. Now, the wagon also served as a chamber council and as kind of a command center for the Mormons that were traveling this direction.
The museum is open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Gilgal Gardens is one of Salt Lake City's most unusual and fascinating hidden gems. Tucked away downtown, the garden was the lifelong project of Thomas Battersby Child Jr., a Mason and religious visionary who began creating it in the 1940s. He filled the garden with larger-than-life stone sculptures and carvings inspired by biblical stories, Mormon history, and his own personal beliefs. Among its most striking pieces is a sphinx said to have the face of Joseph Smith, alongside symbolic works that use scripture and masonry to spark thought and conversation. The name Gilgal itself comes from the Bible, meaning a circle of stones, a place of transformation. For years, the garden was private, known only to those who stumbled across it. But today, it's preserved as a public park, offering visitors a chance to wander through the landscape that's equal parts art, faith, and mystery. Gilgal Gardens stands as a truly one-of-a-kind attraction in Salt Lake City. And the best part? Hey, it's free.
Now, this place can be a bit difficult to find, so once you get on South 500th Street, look for Liberty Boulevard Apartments, and then right next to that's an old red brick house, and then you'll see a black fence, and that fence will say Gilgal, and that's where you go in.
The Tracy Aviary is another out-of-the-way hidden gem that not many people go to see when they visit Salt Lake City, but they really should. It was founded in 1938, and it's one of the oldest and largest bird parks in the United States.
I'm really looking forward to taking a look at this place. The Tracy Aviary has just hundreds of different species of birds, and it is an absolutely beautiful place.
Located in the heart of Liberty Park, Tracy Aviary offers visitors an up-close experience with birds from around the world. The aviary features lush habitats where you can see flamingos wading in shallow pools, condors stretching their massive wings, and playful parrots showing off their colors. Interactive programs let guests feed pelicans, watch bird training demonstrations, and learn how conservation protects endangered species. The aviary also serves as a sanctuary for injured or non-releasable birds, giving them a safe home while educating the public. Flamingos aren't born pink. They get their pink color from the carotenoid pigments in the algae and shrimp they eat, which tints their skin and feathers over time. When you're hungry and want something to eat, the aviary offers a cafe. They also have rock climbing for the kids. Trust me, they'll have a blast. Listen, I thoroughly enjoyed my time at the Tracy Aviary. If you get a chance, you need to check it out while you're in Salt Lake City. We hope you enjoyed our trip to Salt Lake City, Utah. If you did, please hit the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up so YouTube spreads it to more travelers, and hit the notification bell so you can always travel with us. This is Mark and Pam with Any Way You Travel. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Happy travels!